In our number 10 spot, we have the giant centipede. Honestly, I think the title says it all. It is a giant centipede. Just saying, that makes me want to crawl under my covers and hide from the world. Let's be real. The idea that there's creepy centipedes out there in general makes me feel uncomfortable, let alone giant ones. No thanks. Hey, creator of the planet, could we just have done without this one? I don't know. Get back to me later. This new giant version was discovered near Japan and Taiwan in 2021 in the Ryukyu Islands. It was about 20 centimeters long and 2 centimeters thick. It apparently has a bit of an amphibious nature as it lives on land and in water. Yeah, I'm making no plans to ever go to that island. If you're enjoying this video so far, smash that subscribe button so you can know when we post a new video. In our number 9 spot, we have the mountain fur delance. The mountain fur delance is the newest addition to the viper family discovered in the jungle mountains in Zongo Valley in Bolivia. Honestly, the fact that in 2020 we discovered another viper snake makes me wonder what kind of terrifying creature we will discover next. These snakes have excellent camouflage and are usually found lying around the forest floor, often in piles of leaves. They have these heat sensors that help them sense their prey. They are extremely venomous, as you can imagine, so you probably are best to stay clear of Zongo Valley, or all rainforests for that matter. Just joking, just be careful. In our number 8 spot, we have the pig snout brittle sea star. Okay, as creepy as this new discovery is, the pig snout brittle sea star has actually been hiding deep in the ocean at 200 feet for a long time as a living fossil from the Jurassic period. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. It was discovered in 2015 in a barrel, and it was collected also in 2011 in Bank Durand in the South Pacific. Why the name though? Well, it was given this name because of its 8 long arms that look like many pig snouts snapped together. Just gross. Its underside apparently is filled with bristly, thorny teeth. So basically, it's a bunch of pig-like arms with creepy teeth on one side. Excuse me as I may go puke at the thought of this. In our number 7 spot, we have Eriovixia gryffindori. A new spider has been discovered, and all of us that would rather spiders did not roam the earth are not happy about it. But the only somewhat pleasurable thing about this spider is the fact that it was given a name based off of Harry Potter. Why does this make me like it and want to accept it? I don't know. The Eriovixia gryffindori was given an HP sounding name due to the fact that it looks like the Sorting Hat from the movie, and the people who discovered it are extremely cool, obviously. The spider has a very weird shaped body that arises from a very wide base and ends to a bent peak. The body is covered with tiny yellow and white hairs. I bet Ron Weasley would not be too thrilled to hear how a new spider has been discovered. God, I love him. Best HP character by far. Never mind, I take that back. Hermione's better. In our number 6 spot, we have the Potomatrigon rex. No, not a T-Rex or a dinosaur, even though it would be pretty awesome if we discovered a dinosaur existing. On second thought, if the Jurassic Park movies have taught us anything, it's never a good idea to bring back dinos. This new species is also known as the Great River Stingray, and it is a freshwater stingray. It was discovered recently in 2016 from the middle and upper Rio Tocantins in Brazil. It is a dark brownish blackish color and has small yellow spots on it. It is quite large and can weigh up to 44 pounds. It has gained the title of King of Freshwater in this Brazilian river and cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Pretty cool. In our number 5 spot, we have the Scalopendra cataracta. Yep, that's a mouthful of a name. This newly discovered centipede species was found in Thailand and Vietnam. Honestly, creator, I ask you again, why another one? Could you not make another version of a dog for us to discover, or a cat, or basically anything that doesn't have more than 4 legs? Apparently this centipede was named cataracta because that is the name of the waterfall that it was found in. It's apparently 8 inches long and has 20 pairs of legs. Creepy. In our number 4 spot, we have the Fidel Drogon. Named after the dragons from Game of Thrones. I'm not joking. This ant ant, yes, you heard me, ant, has some appropriate characteristics that would lead to it being given this name. Honestly, when I was a kid, I loved ants. I was constantly observing them because, well, I don't know why. I was weird, whatever. But anyways, adult me gets the creeps when I think of them. So the fact that there is an ant out there that has a strange resemblance to a dragon, nah, I'm out. Why is this real? This new ant species was discovered in Papua New Guinea. They have spiny barbs along their backs and shoulders that protect them against predators. Apparently they have muscles beneath the spiny barbs that are there to help the ants hold up their oversized heads. I honestly need this. My shoulders can barely hold up my head. Their heads are packed with muscles to help them lift heavy and large objects. I have no excuse because I just have a big head, so. In our number 3 spot, we have the Exino turbela chiro. Okay, we most likely don't have to be too concerned about this one, but it deserved an honorable mention for looking like a churro. Nom 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 nom. If you've never had a churro, it's a doughy pastry that is just delish. Would recommend. Anyways, of course this new species was given its name because it looks like a churro. It is a sea creature that was found in the eastern Pacific Ocean. It falls within a worm-like animal category, similar to a jellyfish, but it doesn't have tentacles and a few other jellyfish characteristics. It is a pinky purple color and apparently it is food for the mollusk. In our number 2 spot, we have the ringed Sicilian. Technically, this snake was discovered about 2 centuries ago, but only recently it was actually discovered that it has oral venomous glands, and so it basically feels like we're getting to know this creature for the very first time. We're getting newly acquainted, and forevermore we shall be way more cautious. This snake is black with rings around it, and honestly it looks like it's straight out of a futuristic post-apocalyptic world movie. When these snakes are born, fun fact, apparently they feast on their mother's outer layer of skin with 44 teeth. So basically they are vampire snakes. This is terrifying. Apparently then the mother takes a few days to regrow her outer layer of skin back. Nice. In our number 1 spot, we have the Gracilimus Radix. This is a new species of wild rodent that was discovered in a mountainous area in Indonesia. It's a rat. Its scientific name is the Sulawesi root rat. Yeah, gross. It is known to weigh up to about 40 grams, but like I said, it's a mountain rat, so it is found at an elevation of 1,600 meters. Apparently, it is one of 4 rats that have recently been discovered, and hopefully one of the last. Am I right? You agree.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Pelican Spider. Alright, nature is crazy. Many of us have likely heard of animals that have the ability to appear like other scarier animals or things in order to deter predators, but have you ever heard of spiders that kinda look like pelicans? Madagascar's pelican spiders have this sort of crazy illusion of a neck and a beak, and one of the newest discovered species just might be the most pelican-y of all. The researchers who discovered this new species published their findings in 2018, along with the information that this spider species is likely endemic to Madagascar, meaning it can't be found anywhere else in the world. In our number 9 spot today, we have the glass frog. This little frog, also known as Diane's bare-hearted glass frog, or even a Kermit frog, is a lime green little guy, but his surprise comes when you turn him over to look at his underside. This is when you'll realize that he is completely see-through, allowing us all a look at his internal organs. These guys make their home in the rainforest foliage of Costa Rica, and they were found by researchers at the Costa Rican Amphibian Research Center. They did appear similar to other kinds of glass frogs, which is why it took so long for them to be distinguished as a different species, but as it turns out, there is a 12% divergence from their nearest relative. Another really interesting thing about these frogs, that is also another reason why they went so long without being discovered, has to do with their call. Their call is said to sound much more similar to an insect rather than a typical frog. In our number 8 spot today, we have the transparent sea slug. This new species of sea slug is quite a captivating creature. They belong to the grouping called nudibranches, which are soft-bodied marine gastropod mollusks. These type of creatures are known to shed their shells after their larval stage, and they are best known for their incredibly bright and striking colors, although this new species is more transparent looking. These sea slugs were discovered and unveiled by the California Academy of Sciences back in 2014, and they were described from a specimen found found near Waterfall Bay in Malaysia, although they've also been found near the Philippines and Japan as well. These slugs are quite slow growing and they love to chow down on soft-bodied corals for a tasty meal. In our number 7 spot today we have the ray spider. This new species of ray spider was discovered just this year in 2022 and it is thought to be endemic to a certain region of Japan. These spiders are known for their conical webs that are quite distinct from other spider webs. The thing about ray spiders is that they aren't filter feeders at all. For someone who is terrified of spiders like I am, their way of hunting is a lot more frightening than I would like to imagine. These guys stretch their webs into a cone-like shape, like I mentioned before, and then they hold on tightly while they wait for their unsuspecting prey to waltz on by. When it's time to strike, they either shake or they let their webs fly out in order to catch their delicious meal. While these spiders certainly are battle ready, the good news is that this new species is quite small, which means that we can all rest easy. In our number 6 spot today we have the new sea slug. Another new species of sea slug. These guys were first classified back in 2018 after they were found in the coral reefs of Indonesia. While kind of strange looking, these creatures are also pretty dazzling as they have either a bright beautiful purple color or they're white with orange spots. It took so long for them to be discovered because of their similarities to another species of sea slug, but after some DNA sequencing however, it was realized that these similarities are more of a mimic rather than a close relative. It is said that these sea slugs are quite adept at survival skills as they have a whole pile of strategies that they rely on. These include mimicry, camouflage, and cryptic patterns. In our number 5 spot today we have the living branch. Alright, looking at a picture of one of these guys, you'd think it's just a large stick, but instead it really is a new species of very large stick bugs. These guys were discovered in Vietnam in late 2014 and they have been wowing scientists ever since. These guys can grow to be over a foot long, which makes them one of the largest insects ever found. So while I was researching for this video, I had the question, how are stick bugs born? Do they come from eggs? How many eggs would a stick bug have? You know, just regular stick bug questions. As it turns out, I was a little in over my head because apparently female stick bugs will lay over 100 eggs, some species laying as many as 1,000 eggs per gestation. That's wild. That's potentially a lot of stick bugs. In our number 4 spot today we have the Uruguayan river dolphin. This is a newly discovered species of Amazon river dolphin that is actually causing quite a bit of debate in the scientific community. These residents of the Amazon River are the largest of all river dolphins, and adults end up acquiring a strange pink coloring which can be more prominent in the males. In 2014, based on nuclear microsatellite and mitochondrial DNA data, as well as noticeable differences in skull morphology, these guys were classified into their own distinct species, but not all scientists are yet convinced that they are separate. For those who do believe that it's its own species, they believe that the split from their closest relative came about 2.08 million years ago. In our number 3 spot today we have the FireTailed TD Monkey. Back in 2011, scientists were looking for animals in southern Brazil when one scientist noticed an unusual monkey with a bright reddish-orange tail. This of course sparked some interest and led to some more trips to observe these monkeys, which in turn led to the discovery of a new species. This new species is a kind of TD monkey, which are small tree-dwelling primates that have about 30 species throughout South America. These guys live in small family groups that consist of a monogamous pair of adults and usually 2 or 3 of their offspring, and these families often spend most of their time grooming each other. One of my favorite things about these creatures is how they will often sit next to one another on a branch while their tails intertwine endearingly. While it is too early in their discovery to know for sure if these guys are endangered, experts warn that they are not yet out of the woods, and if they aren't endangered, they might be soon because of their limited habitat that is currently facing threats of deforestation. In our number 2 spot today we have the Fanged Frog. This species of frogs are endemic to northern and western Sulawesi, Indonesia, and they were discovered in late 2014 by scientists from the University of California, Berkeley. These frogs are actually fanged frogs as they have 2 projections on their lower jaw that they use when they get into fights. One really unique thing about this species of frog is in relation to their reproduction process. They have internal fertilization and they give live birth to tadpoles. This is different from other frog species that give live births, as they normally produce froglets, which is the cutest little thing I've ever heard. Little froglets. What? It is said that these live tadpoles are likely protected early in life by their frog fathers. I mean, I personally wouldn't risk getting in a fight with a fanged frog, would you? In our number 1 spot today, we have the ancient panda. This is likely the newest discovery on this entire list, but it's a discovery that came about 6 million years too late. By using a set of fossilized teeth that were actually found in the 1970s, researchers recently just uncovered a new species of panda that lived all those millions of years ago, but this panda was quite different from what we know today, and that is because these guys made their home in Bulgaria. The fossilized teeth are shiny and black because they were found in coal deposits, but researchers were still able to date them back to the Mycenaean age, which took place 7.2 to 5.3 million years ago. These pandas would have lived in humid forests and swamp areas, and they are comparable in size to pandas today. These teeth, however, aren't quite as sturdy as those of pandas today, so rather than tough bamboo, it is likely that these guys had a diet of softer plants. This discovery is just one that shows us how little we really know about ancient nature and how much there is to uncover even still today. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot we have the chiro ant. This is a type of ant that was officially classified in 2014. These ants nest in the ground or in rotten wood, and they were found in Madagascar. The name of these ants comes from this wild technique they have when it comes to an intruder who is invading their territory. Of course, these ants feel a duty to protect their home and their colony, so what do when someone threatens their safety? Well, they grab a hold of the intruder and throw them and themselves off of the ant equivalent of a cliff. So far it seems like they are the only species that willingly throws themselves off of cliffs, but hey, it earned them the name of a hero, so maybe it was all worth it. Somehow these ants are able to pick themselves up after the fall and get right back to work. In our number 9 spot today we have Salazars Pit Viper. This new green pit viper species was discovered in 2019 and finally classified in 2020. It was first found in the Himalayas and was actually one of 5 new reptile species found in the area that year. If you're a Harry Potter lover, this one might be obvious, but the snake was named after the Harry Potter character Salazar Slytherin. The snake features a dark green head and yellowish green dorsal scales throughout the rest of its body. The males and females of this species have different physical characteristics, with the males having yellow, orange, and reddish-orange stripes with a rust-colored tail, which is something that is not seen on the females. The snakes are nocturnal and are often found coiled around shrubs at night. Currently, their habitat is under threat due to developments such as road widening, agriculture, and hydroelectric projects, not to mention the current plans to build a 49-kilometer-long road that cuts directly through their habitat. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Emperor Dumbo octopus. These guys are a new species of Dumbo octopus that was discovered just last year. It was discovered in the Emperor Seamounts in the North Pacific Ocean, just off of the coast of Japan. The location of the discovery is where they got their name from, which I thought was important to include because when I first heard their name, I thought it meant that they were huge, which was initially a little concerning. There is actually only one of these species that has ever been found, which was the single specimen that was used to confirm this discovery. Because the specimen was found alive and was the only one we've located, scientists were thankfully careful to use only non-invasive techniques to identify it, which included micro CT scans and 3D imaging. These techniques ensure that the little guy could continue living his life while we can also learn more about it, which truly is the best of both worlds. The one we found was located at a depth of around 3,900 to 4,400 meters in the ocean. In our number 7 spot today we have the deadly sponge. To be perfectly honest, sea sponges have always kind of creeped me out. Like, they're just so different, and it's crazy that they really are alive. But this newly discovered species of sea sponges takes things to a whole new level. These sponges, to something like a shrimp, would probably look like a lovely place to take a little rest stop, but upon closer examination, they're hiding a deadly little secret. While most sea sponges filter water that they flush through their bodies and get nutrients from all of the single-celled organisms that pass through, these species of sea sponges, announced in 2014, have decided that they need a little something more. That's right, these sea sponges are carnivores. These sponges feature these tiny little microscopic hooks on them that act like Velcro for that unsuspecting shrimp. Once snagged by the sponge, after a few hours, the sponge's cells will start to engulf and digest it, and within a few days all that will be left is an empty shell. Definitely one of those circle of life things, but still, it's a little macabre to be perfectly honest. In our number 6 spot today we have the pine Rockland trapdoor spider. Maybe not not terrifying to scientists, but definitely terrifying to me, this spider has a bit of an interesting discovery story. This spider species was actually discovered in 2012, but it wasn't really researched and found out to be a new spider species until last year in 2021. When this spider was originally found, it was located by a staff member at the Miami Zoo who was inspecting reptile research traps. When this staff member was unable to identify this spider based on the existing records of spiders in the area, they knew that they had found something unusual. 2 years later, another one of these spiders was found and looked at by experts in the field. Rebecca Godwin, who is a PhD, who is the assistant professor of biology at Piedmont College in Demorest, Georgia, was able to confirm that this spider was in fact a previously undescribed species. After years of research, she was able to officially identify it as a new species similar to a tarantula. This discovery was extremely exciting as it came from an endangered piece of forest that is located in the middle of a city. Researchers have explained that this is just one of the many reasons why it is so important that we work to preserve these kinds of areas so that we don't lose the things we do know, but also those that we don't yet. In our number 5 spot today, we have the deepwater snapper. This new fish belongs to a small genus of bottom-dwelling fish that are absolutely massive. There were previously 3 different species belonging to the genus, but this one marks the 4th. The newer discovered one is seemingly identical to one of the other already discovered species, with the same bright pink color, the same usual ocean depth of around 200 to 400 meters, and they're also both usually found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, but despite all of this, the genetics of these fish are actually different. The new species also has a few small physical details that set it apart from the others, such as smaller eyes and a black spot on the tip of its upper tail fin. It is believed that this fish had previously been misidentified as the other similar species, and since these fish are usually caught on the same fishing line, this new distinction is incredibly important for fisheries because each fish species needs to be managed differently. The fish was named in honor of Dr. Brian Bowen, who is a researcher at the University of Hawaii, who has spent over 3 decades of his life dedicated to studying marine fish. In our number 4 spot today, we have the false gecko. This is definitely among the smallest of the creatures on this list, measuring at just 42 to 52 millimeters long. These little guys were found on the southeastern tip of the main island of the Philippines, Luzon. Their scientific name comes from their tendency to hide in hollow areas such as logs. They have inverted Y-shaped markings along their entire tail, as well as golden yellow colored eyes, which apparently are reflective. Previous to the discovery of this new false gecko, there were 9 other known species of false geckos, all of which are endemic to the Philippines. Because of their small size, their tendencies to hide, and their camouflage abilities, these little guys are extremely difficult to find, which is definitely part of the reason they are such a new discovery. One of the researchers on the team of scientists who discovered this new species explained that this new discovery just might create a greater appreciation for the biodiversity in the Philippines and will hopefully prompt a better management of the wilderness areas located there. Researchers are currently worried that this brand new species might be close to extinction due to habitat loss. In our number 3 spot today, we have marsupial frogs. These guys were discovered in 2021 and they were found in a protected part of the Amazon rainforest. It is estimated that there is the highest concentration of undiscovered animals in the Amazon, so it really makes sense that we would find a new species here. These frogs feature a green color and they have a coarse, granular, and patternless dorsal skin. They have turquoise colored eyes and their venter doesn't have any sort of splotches, specks, or dots. I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up what a venter is, but I guess it's just like the belly area of the frog. You know, the more you know. These guys are called marsupial frogs because the females hold eggs in a closed dorsal pouch, which is similar to that of like a kangaroo or other kinds of marsupial animals. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Enigma moth. This is a type of moth that was discovered back in 2015, and it is regarded as quite an exciting discovery, to be quite honest. While I personally hate moths, this one even has me feeling alright about it. On Kangaroo Island, which is in South Australia, it was discovered that the island, which has been settled since 1836, was holding an insect species that was entirely unknown to science. When these moths were found, they were realized to have more primitive features, so scientists had a job to figure out just how primitive. Turns out these guys are kinda like a living fossil. Even the most primitive moths we know of have jaws. A sign of a more recent moth is that of a tongue, but this newly discovered moth species has neither a tongue nor a jaw. All in all, this discovery is said to have been one of the most exciting in entomology in the last 40 years. One of the reasons these moths might have been hard to pin down is because their adult lives are lived in one single day. In one day they emerge from their cocoon, mate, reproduce, and then die. Definitely a jam-packed day, that's for sure. In our number 1 spot today we have the bone house wasp. Well, really all you need to know about this one is in its name. These wasps were discovered in southeast China in 2014, and their scientific name was inspired by graveyard bone houses or ossuaries. This is because the females of this species, after they lay eggs, will riddle their home with dead ant corpses. Yeah, not exactly the same sort of nesting I was expecting, but hey, to each their own. Of course, this is thought to potentially make their nest less vulnerable to predators, and the smell of the dead ants might even fully deter them and completely camouflage the nest. All in all, while it is of course a survival tactic, it's also quite a gruesome thought.